So we're all together. I'd like to have a moment of silence in her honor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
a past member of this board passed away also recently, Pat Jamvrin from Salisbury.
that's right.
I think we should at least a quick moment of respect.
Acknowledge it and have a moment of silence for her. Thank you. Thank you. If we all rise and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there anybody here under public comment, which is next on the agenda, would like to approach the school
Let's just
committee?
make it, that's okay. Just- It gets a little squishy on this side.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to move the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, December 13th.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Any omissions, deletions, or changes? None being heard, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I would like to move that we accept the minutes of the executive session on same night, December 13th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Earl. Are there any changes, omissions, or deletions? None being heard, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, tonight, under the Treasury report, going to have Amy give us an overview of the Treasury report. Basically, we're going to be just giving us information on the categories, where the funds come from, how they're dispersed. If we have, in lieu of the meeting to get expedited, if we have any specific questions on certain categories, you can please forward those to either her or the superintendent. But this is basically just, this is what the Treasury report, this is how it's made up, and this is where the accounts and where the funds come from. I think there's a handout. Thank you.
Thank you. Ooh, pie chart. I like pie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I see some new faces, so I just appreciate the opportunity to be here and say hello and introduce myself. I'm Amy Posick. I'm the district treasurer. So the chairman asked me to just come and just give a brief overview of the cash inflows and outflows that the district takes in on a regular basis. So I just put together, I love visuals myself, so just a quick overview. You know, when we think about revenue for the district and cash inflows, really the bulk of our funds come from our member community assessments as well as our state aid, which is what you would expect and is consistent with most school districts. And then you can see we have, you know, grants and regional transportation, a couple other little categories that we take in funds throughout the year as well. But really, you know, we collect our community assessments quarterly, and those go into our main operating account, which is at Haverhill Bank. Our state aid is distributed monthly, and that also comes into our operating account that's at Haverhill Bank. So this is just really a visual of our revenues. And then in terms of cash outflows, we think about the expenditures of the district. We can really categorize those into two buckets, payroll and vendor payments. In terms of payroll, we make sure that goes out every other week because I don't want anybody coming at my door. The district has processed payroll through Pentucket Bank for quite a while now, and it runs very smoothly. That's every other week. And generally, our vendor payments, so for supplies, contracted services, things that we need to run the school, those are all processed through Eastern Bank. We have a great relationship with them as well. And those are generally done every other week. And you see all those payments come through the voucher and warrant cycle, and that's how it kind of flows through through this committee. So that's really how the money comes in and how the money goes out. And every month you'll receive the treasurer's report. All the bank accounts are reconciled monthly. And so you'll see here a listing. And I really just want to welcome and encourage anybody who wants sort of more information or more detailed overview. Please come see me or give me a call or an email. I would love it. And so I'm just always available. And if you have any general questions now, I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, absolutely.
It says that the main operating budgets are from the Haverhill Bank, and the money is going into Haverhill Bank, but the expenditures are coming out from Pentucket Bank and Eastern Bank.
Yes.
If it goes into one bank, are you just transferring money constantly, or how do we do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, procedurally, so all the money comes into Haverhill Bank, and then the warrants are processed through the business office, and my job is to transfer the money out to Pentucket Bank for payroll and Eastern for the vendor payments. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had a question about the scholarships
Yeah.
and the gifts in kind that we get. We get
Yeah.
a lot of stuff from companies that have extra material and stuff. Now, that doesn't really fall into our budget, so to speak, but do you keep track of it as treasurer?
We do keep track of all the scholarship accounts, absolutely, and the donations, yep.
Now, the donations, are they just kept in a separate account? Because they're not part of our budget, so to speak.
Yep, the scholarships all have their own accounts, and donations have their own fund account within our accounting system.
How many scholarship accounts are we up to now? We must have dozens.
Gosh, yeah.
I don't know, 30 of them is my rough guess.
Would the, now, when someone gives money for a scholarship for a specific purpose, you know, like a machine shop, somebody that's going into machine shop, somebody going into health services, is there any way that we could streamline that to make it easier to keep track of, instead of having 30 different accounts, have one big scholarship account?
We do, yeah.
We have one big scholarship account for most of the accounts, and then we have several, what's the word I want to use?
Funds, like within that.
Funds, but no, with the endowments.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have several endowments. Those are by themselves, but we get a lot of accounts where they pay us the scholarship amounts every year, 1,000. You'll see some of them in your packet tonight. Those all go into a general scholarship account. The ones we keep separate are ones that we either got a significant amount of money in, and it's an endowment, or people have guaranteed that they will be replenishing it every year. So we have a combination.
All right, thanks.
Well, thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I just have one more
Yep.
question, or two, actually.
sure.
So which one represents the scholarship account?
So the scholarships are not on this report, but they're included in the report that you get from Kara.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to reach you, how do we reach you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know what, why don't I get all my
you can give it to
information
the
out? Is that
chairman?
okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my last name's really tricky to spell.
Okay.
So I'll get you my phone number and email, and yeah,
Great, we'll
please.
just put it right on here.
That
Thank
would be
you.
great, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anybody else
absolutely.
has specific questions, you just forward them to her or through Maureen, and we're more than happy to answer. Yes.
Could I get? Hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm just curious, why the need for the 3 different banks? Why don't you deal with one bank when it comes to the payroll and vendors?
Sure. So every bank has their sort of strengths and weaknesses, I would say that. And we also really take the approach, I know Kara and I share this view, that we like to support, we have a lot of the
banks.
local banks,
Okay.
and they've been really good to us in different ways, you know, scholarships and things like that, so.
Okay,
yeah.
that's a great
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Truthful.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, matter of fact, we have the bank right over here, through the school. Okay, moving on, we have no old business to, as posted. What? Oh, we need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Moved and second by Mr. Murphy. By Mrs. Gilbert. Any more questions on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Okay, moving on to the student representative, Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch, and all of the school committee members. The Drama Club has started their full rehearsal schedule for our upcoming spring musical performance of We Will Rock You. They have 35 actors that are cast. Their tech and stage crew will be joining soon. They hope to be costuming the show largely in-house with the help of faculty and students. The cast is very excited to get underway with a lot of hard work ahead for opening night on March 9th. Peer-to-Peer just finished a very successful canned food drive. The grand total of the canned goods collected was 805. Machine Tech collected 378 cans, winning the first place plaque, and were treated to breakfast the day before the Christmas holiday. Donations will be delivered to our neighbor's table and distributed to families within the Whittier community in need. The Interact Club is planning to connect with Bethany Holmes, the head of the Mary Vista House, to spread some post-holiday cheer with a social visit. They're planning on serving coffee and desserts. The Key Club has been exploring fundraising opportunities and group events to try to unify as a whole. The Multicultural Club had a member share about her experiences as a multiracial and multicultural individual during their December 21st meeting. She inspired them greatly with her attitude and her richness. They all had a great time and celebrated together for a winter break. They would like to wish everyone a happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day for January 15th. The Environmental Club has just restarted their recycling efforts with the return of their advisor. They look forward to continuing and expanding their efforts throughout the rest of the school year. Whittier Tech's first robotics team has just begun its 6-week build season for 2018. This year, the game is called First Power Up. The alliances must take blocks on top of either a scale or a switch, which are both seesaws, and which have to be heavier on your side to be awarded points during the match. Other tasks the robot has to perform is to climb, to hang at the end of the match, while possibly lifting other alliance robots. The robotics team gathered to discuss the rules and regulations. Their media committee has been creating organizational sheets, finishing up essays, and writing thank you cards for their sponsors. Boys varsity basketball is off to a great start. They're currently 8-1 with some big league wins against Shawshene, Greater Lawrence, and Chelsea. Chelsea was a particularly significant win as they were also undefeated. They're looking forward to continuing their success, but know it will be challenging given the large number of away games that are coming up at the end of January and February. Girls varsity basketball currently has 3 wins and 3 losses this season. They've been steadily improving throughout the year, and they're looking forward to their upcoming game against Essex Tech and Shawshene in the next 2 weeks. The wrestling team is doing very well, and they're currently 7-1 overall. The team has had a strong second-place finish with the Pentucket Holiday Tournament in a field of 23 teams. They're looking forward to a continued improvement as the season progresses, and they're facing Greater Lawrence tonight at home. The hockey team has had a few games in the past month with a few tough losses, a win, and a tie. The varsity team has brought up some JV players and hopes to have them gain some experience in the varsity level. The varsity's next game is tonight against Triton. The JV team has also been successful with 2 wins, 2 losses, and a tie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments on her report? Yes.
Do we have a date for the musical, or did I miss it?
March
9th,
9th, I think. But excuse me, is it also other days too? It's not just March 9th? Is that
It's
where
usually
it
the
begins?
weekend.
10th and 11th.
10th, right, okay.
That weekend.
Yes.
I just had a comment. The Daily News put in an article about the canned food drive and how Machine Tech had raised funds and took photos, and you probably know.
Yeah, I think it's in one of your press releases that
Oh,
you
oh,
have in
okay,
your
all right,
packet.
yeah. I was just thrilled to open up the Daily News and see that.
Yeah.
It was on Channel 5 too.
Oh, it was. I'm sorry.
This envelope here.
Oh, I haven't gone through the, yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah.
she just said that, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report. Ms. Lynch.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For informational purposes, before you tonight, I have a hire of a science tutor, a route bus driver, MacBook, iPad specialist / coaches, clerical support for the health office, nurse to support health data entry, evening school instructor, and I also have a resignation of a security monitor. Budget update, we met this evening to discuss the FY19 budget. At that meeting, we began with a 6.6% increase, which will be reduced for the next executive subcommittee meeting. There is no MCAS update at this time. On Thursday, December 14th, Bev DeSalvo, Paul Moskvich, Dave Cunningham, and I attended a reception with the governor along with 10 other vocational schools. We are being fast-tracked in the application process for a post-secondary program in advanced manufacturing, and they're looking to have that program begin in September 2018. Also, on Thursday, I attended the Whittier concert performance, and I know that I saw several of you there as well. I want to publicly thank Linda Urban, the choral director, for all of her hard work. And really, I couldn't have been prouder of the students. It was a really wonderful evening. On Friday, December 15th, I attended the North Shore Superintendent's Roundtable Luncheon with administrative assistants along with Lisa Rand. It was a great evening, and I really wanted to thank Essex Tech for a phenomenal lunch for the administrative assistants. On Wednesday, December 27th, I met with Beverly Donovan, is she the president or the chairwoman of the Haverhill Chamber of Commerce? And we looked at ways that we can work together within the city and with the business community. Also before you is a memo about my goals for this school year. I continue to work as major goals at the district budget. Student learning will always be a goal, and district improvement. We continue to evaluate academic and vocational curriculum. The recent recipient of the Capital Skills Grant Advanced Manufacturing has fast-tracked the district to begin offering post-secondary programs next year in advanced manufacturing, and I look forward to expanding those programs here in the evening. We're in the beginning stages of beginning a Chapter 74 approved dental assisting program. I believe at the next meeting I'll have more information to share with you regarding this exciting opportunity. Are there any questions or concerns regarding my goals?
Just want to ask, Chapter 74, that means it's a state-funded.
Grant.
It's a grant?
No, it's approved. All of our programs are Chapter 74 approved.
Okay, I just wanted to know, I
Yeah.
was wondering about the funding for that, like, is that, would that be,
It wouldn't change the funding for students. It would change the equipment that we need to buy, those
Yeah.
kinds of things, but the per pupil wouldn't change.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, because those things are funded by the state?
I'm not sure what
I'm
you're.
not sure, okay, I don't, okay, I just,
Wants to know
Trying to
where's
figure
the
out
money
where's the
coming
money,
from
yeah.
to do it.
Well, again, we're hoping to be a recipient of another capital skills grant to
Okay.
get the program up and running.
thank you, that's what I,
But
okay.
we haven't heard that information yet.
Mr. Irving.
Once this is approved, or Chapter 74 is approved,
Right.
do we have, is there a length of time? The old days, it used to be several years.
No.
Once it's approved, it's
So
in.
they've changed the application process. We are in Part B of the application
Okay.
process and should hopefully be approved by the end of the school year, if not the beginning of next,
Right, thank you.
if we have the program.
Okay.
One more thing.
Yes.
As I was writing the goals in January, I was wondering if we could move my goals to the beginning of the school year at an August or September meeting and changing it in the annual agenda. I didn't know if that would be the wish of the committee.
How about July?
Okay.
We won't be here, Paul.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes more sense.
It goes along with the strategic plan and the school improvement plan, which we have in August and September. Having my goals to meet those goals, I think, makes
Yeah,
sense.
That is
I
common
think having the
sense,
goals
yeah.
at the beginning of the school
Yeah.
year
It's
would
when
be
it should be.
advantageous.
Okay.
Yeah.
You vote on that?
we have to make a motion, don't we?
Yeah. Why don't we do it? Why don't we have a motion?
Move that we change the, Maureen, the superintendent's report on her goals to the first meeting in September.
Second. Any other comments on that? Done? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
Great, thank you. According to the school committee's policy, I have 2 scholarships. The Gilbert family is donating 2 $1,000 scholarships to benefit 1 male and 1 graduating senior here at Whittier Tech.
Do I need to leave the room?
I don't think you need to read the room, but you probably can't.
I can't vote.
Is it one male, one female, or just?
1 male, 1 female.
What about me? I want $1,000.
And I want to thank the Gilbert family for these generous scholarships, so thank you.
So I make a motion to accept.
Yes.
Already made a motion.
Who made the motion?
Second?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You seconded. Yeah. Any other questions on that? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
One abstention.
One abstention, Ms. Gilbert.
Okay, and again, I have another
abstained for you.
scholarship here from Haverhill Bank. Haverhill Bank is donating 2 $1,000 scholarships to benefit a graduating Whittier senior here at Whittier. And I want to thank Tom Mortimer, the president and CEO of the bank, for this generous scholarship.
Is there a motion to that effect?
I make that motion.
Motion?
Second.
You got that? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And I have Newburyport 5 Cent Savings Bank is donating a $1,000 scholarship to benefit a graduating senior. I would like to thank Janice C. Morris, President and CEO of Newburyport 5 Cent Savings Bank, for this generous scholarship.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second. Where Lisa? Lisa, Alana. Excuse me. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. That's the end of your report. Thank you very much. Next report is by the principal's update. Mr. Leganis.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Superintendent Lynch. First of all, before I get started, I just want to thank everybody for the comfort and sympathy that I received over a very tough time for my family with my mother. I truly have to say that I'm blessed, and I don't want to get emotional. Maureen's seen me before get emotional, but I just want to say I'm blessed to really, when we talk about the Whittier family, to have a second family to come to work every day. So we truly are a classy organization. It's all of us together. So thank you for all of that. To get to bigger and better things, Whittier's holiday fund raised over $7,000 for Whittier students and families in difficult times. This was done through the help of many staff members and some local agencies, including Haverhill Kiwanis Club and David and Catherine Fonzo. They were able to accommodate 73 families this year. And I want to just special thanks to Cheryl Began, Christine Morrison, the guidance team, and as well as Elaine Kevigas for doing a lot of wrapping of the presents and getting it all together. If you can believe it, the staff and students are preparing for midterms next week. Vocational and academic exams will be held January 16th through the 19th. During this time, the administration staff will work with freshmen on career plans like we always do, and various topics including college career readiness, skills portfolio development, working on peer mediation, the new peer leadership crew that we have, and some of the extracurricular activities, as well as also they'll listen to a guest speaker panel presentation of some of the Whittier alum that come back, which is about career opportunities and non-traditional roles. Again, I want to thank Bev DeSalvo, our vocational coordinator. She's sort of the guru, and she calls it her halftime show. She hates when I say that, but she's amazing when she gets it together for the children. Also updating the program of studies and working, believe it, on the master schedule. We are meeting with the superintendent tomorrow, and we're going to discuss some of the updates for 18-19. And as well, the Booster Club is holding their fundraiser, a mattress fundraiser, the 27th, from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock that day. And it's, in the past, it's been pretty lucrative for the children and making money for them. So that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
How does the mattress fundraiser work?
So that's a good question. They go out and they advertise to a lot of the athletes. They have a few meetings and they put out flyers, and a certain percentage goes to the Booster Club. So they bring in the mattresses in the cafeteria, and they sell the mattresses for cheap prices. And this year, which is beneficial, we are the only show in town that day. The year we did it, I believe we did it last year, Haverhill High had something going on, so we were kind of competing for, if someone wanted a mattress and they were closer to Haverhill High School, they went over there. So this year, we're hoping that they will, they'll sell a lot of mattresses and they get a certain percentage of the sales and goes right into the Booster Club money for the children.
So do you have to take your own mattress home and?
So they do deliver.
They deliver?
Yes,
What about getting
within
rid
the
of the old
district.
mattress?
So that's something I'd have to get back to you on, the
I've
old
done it in
mattress.
another, it's the same
So-
program, they did it at Pentucket, they took our mattresses.
So they do, they get rid of the old?
Here's the thing I'll warn you about though. So when my oldest son did it, for the track team, I put new mattresses on every bed in the house.
Yeah.
And then this year, my younger son needed to do it for the band, and I'm like, I can't buy any.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because one of our colleagues said, she's one of our assistant principals, says, I bought 4 mattresses for all the boys in the family, and I can't buy any more mattresses. So we're right with you.
If one kid does it, you better be sure you leave some behind so the other.
So there are different brands and,
Yep, they have the brands. Last year when I went, they have some, upper echelon brands and prices that you can spend up to. Now I think the big thing are the Craftmatic beds that are all moving and doing whatever it is, and they can get up to $6,000. I don't know if they're selling those. I don't think so.
It's like buying at a mattress store. It's a
Yeah,
pretty good deal.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a good deal.
when is this, Chris?
This is on Saturday, the 27th, from 10 to 4 here, right in the cafeteria.
Okay.
And they have a whole display. You walk through, like you said, it's a mattress store.
Yeah, it's no overhead, it's just taking it from
Exactly.
warehouse to you, so they give you good
Exactly.
prices, yeah.
So we have the kids advertise. It's pretty nice, and you can see some of the schools. I don't know how Pawtucket did, but some of the schools, so they could get up to $10,000. I think last year we made, because we were competing, we were in the $3,000 range, and that's right into the Booster Club for the children.
That's awesome.
I believe the first year we did it, we'd made
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah, the
Really?
first year when Maureen brought it in, they made a ton of money.
And what time is it?
10 o'clock it starts, 10 to 4.
4.
It's also funny to see high school kids go door to door saying, hey, you need a mattress?
Oh, trust me, it took a lot of convincing for me to do that.
Those metal, what were they, metal stakes that didn't want those going home on the buses.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Do the
think I'm gonna have to
businesses,
go.
in the district know about this, like hotels in Amesbury, things like that? I mean, it could be very lucrative if, I don't know.
And again, I don't, they have the advertisement's been out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if all the businesses know about it, but that's certainly,
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, do they
Makes
advertise
sense.
in the local papers? Like, how did they do it?
I don't know if the advertisement's in the papers.
The company
Seen
really takes
anything.
over.
Yeah.
They say you're gonna do it, and they do
Oh,
all
and
the
they
advertisement,
take care of
and
that.
it's really,
Oh.
Whittier's not necessarily involved in that piece, other than housing it.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. Okay.
Yeah, we kind of house it, and they give us a little percentage, and, not a bad take for
Nope.
the children.
Thank you.
So.
So are they set up so that you can sit on them?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can go there. you
I'm
can-
there.
It's just like a mattress store.
Bring money.
Yeah, just order a few and you're good.
That's funny, because we're just talked about getting a new box spring and mattress, so I think I'll give it a shot.
Great, we'll see you there.
I think so.
That's great.
Awesome, thank you very
Anything
much.
else?
Have
That's
a
it.
good night.
Thank you.
Business manager.
Next is the business manager, Ms. Cosmos.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. I have a few things for you. We're midway through the year, so you have in your packet the 6-month variance analysis. And most of the accounts are on track, as I expect that they should be. You'll see if they're over, they're green. I'm sorry, yellow. If they're under, they're green, and we have more green than we have yellow, so we're in very good shape. And I also wanted to remind you, you'll see a couple of accounts that look out of whack, and if you recall, I mentioned the last time, we had to reclassify professional development. So some accounts are going to look off until the end of the year because I really have no way to know how to allocate those budgets. I don't have any history with the new allocations. So those will continue to remain that way until the end of the year when I'll clean them all up. Does anyone have any questions on that? Elena?
On the textbook part
Yes.
of it, why, they were almost, all of them, budgeted for like only half of what we actually needed.
Well, sometimes if we have money the year before, we do some pre-buys. So there's probably a reason for that. We probably bought some textbooks at the end of last year if we had some funds available.
But what I'm saying is what you budgeted was
Yep.
one figure, and then what you expended was almost twice as much.
Oh,
on some
okay,
of
that
them.
would usually because of enrollment. The enrollments would have shifted and we would have needed more books. Yeah.
Okay, that, it happened on, but 3 or 4 of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
Anything else?
I think we're trying to get as much as we can electronically.
Right.
And as Ms. as
Some of
Maureen
the
mentioned, some-
yeah,
Some
the-
of the cost is the
Are
reverse,
higher.
right?
Electronic textbooks, the costs are higher than what
Than
the
a textbook.
hardbound text would have been. And of course, with the iPads, we're trying to do as much electronically as we can. So again, if you recall, when we budget sometimes well in advance of a year from when we're actually going to put things into place, and prices go up and shipping goes up, so it's the best guesstimate that you can do at that time.
But then it all balances.
It all balances out.
It does, yeah.
Anything else?
I just-
Go ahead.
It was just two, it was the security contract and the
Yes,
sport-
the security
sporting-
contract, it's a new contract. We have outside security in addition to our in-staff people, in-house people. And when we did the budget last year, we had not gone out to bid for the new contract, so the new contract had higher rates.
I knew there was an explanation. And then the sporting goods and first aid, I noticed it was a huge influx.
That swings all the time, you know, it depends on where we are in the year with the sports. Sometimes we need uniforms and sometimes we don't, and I think this was a year that Mr. Bradley needed uniforms.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Early?
Professional development.
Yes,
79,000.
that's what I just told you about. That account's going to have a balance because I'm paying things specifically out of different accounts. They asked us to reallocate how we reported them.
Thank you.
You know, oh, yes, Mr.
Well, just one question, student accident, is that for insurance
Yes,
purposes?
it is, student accident insurance. Okay, I'll move on. There are no other questions? A couple of bid results for you, one which you have in your packet and one which you probably got a couple of days ago. Sometimes people ask the question, what happens when we have equipment here and we get new equipment and we can't trade it in? What do we do with it? Well, what we do is we first offer it out to our member communities to see if they would like to have any of the equipment. We don't charge them for it. We offer them to come and pick it up, and we give it to them. And so this year, we did that with a pile of equipment, and Amesbury indicated that they wanted 4 South Bend lathes, a Brown and Sharp surface grinder, a Bridgeport vertical milling machine, and a do-all vertical bandsaw. So once we had that, we had still some surplus equipment left, and we do a public bid where we put it out to any member of the public who wants to bid on some of this equipment. And we received the highest offers from 2 vendors, West Side Trucking. They bid a total of $2,329 for a vertical mill, a lathe, 2 grinders, and a closing Matosa, whatever that is. And CLC Trucking, who bid $300 for a horizontal bandsaw. So total receipts from the sale of our surplus equipment was $2,629, and that money gets deposited into our general fund. So I wanted to update you on that. And finally, I know this question has come up quite a few times, we finally put out a new bid for the school buses. As you recall, prior to my coming here, you had leased 10 school buses, and we put out a bid for an option of 13, 15, or 17 school buses. And the thought was that if we were able to make it work with 17 leased school buses, we would own 10 school buses, and that would put us in a very good position for every year or every 5 years to replace every single one of our school buses. So we were very lucky this year. We had 3 vendors who came in and who bid, and the lowest responsible and responsive bidder was a company called DATCO. They are the people who actually currently hold the lease right now that we have with the 10 school buses. And that number came in at $134,169.75, which is very competitive. When you think about it, we were paying about $93,000 for the 10 school buses, and we're paying $134,000 for 17 school buses. So that bid response exceeded my expectations. I also have to say thank you to DATCO, because the original lease ended in February, and I was not looking forward to replacing 10 school buses in the middle of the winter in February. And we were able to work with them to extend out this lease so that we now have the lease going on a July to June timeframe. So that has worked out well, and I wanted to publicly thank them for working with us. Because the term of this lease is more than 3 years, I do need the school committee to give me approval to enter into this leasing contract. There is a motion, I believe, from or a recommendation from Ms. Lynch in your packet.
How long is the,
This is a 5-year lease again.
5-year
There is a buyout at the end, but we don't do the buyout, you know,
Okay.
we will release again in
We'll
5
get
years.
new buses.
okay.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
Mr. Early.
Second.
Ms. Gilbert. Any questions? I have one.
Yes.
Our history with this company on the present maintenance record is,
Very good. Yes, they're located, I think, in Rhode Island, but they have 2 satellites, one up in New Hampshire and one in Tingsboro, so we're able to bring the buses down to a place a lot closer. They've been very responsive to us, and we have not had any major issues with the buses.
and I don't know if this happens, but is there a part of the lease that, in case we have a bus that goes down for repairs, we can get a loaner?
They do
Need it?
provide loaners, but that's one of the reasons we keep 10 school
extra
buses,
buses.
because we have, I think, at least 2 spares out of the ones that we own. We always have 2 or 3 spares.
And with these 17 buses, the plan we had incorporated of using our own buses for the longer routes
Yes,
won't affect the mileage?
we actually did very well with the mileage. One of the things that Dawn Martin, our bus coordinator, does is she really is very careful about how she moves the buses around, the leased buses. So if this one's going to Ipswich this year, it's probably not going to go to Ipswich next year.
Yeah.
She'll make it go closer or to Haverhill so that she can keep the mileage within. But we didn't even get close to the mileage in this last lease, so we did very, very
Good.
well. We were able to lease more.
Wow.
Any other
Job.
comments or questions?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Wait, we got to vote.
Oh,
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
thank you.
Unanimous. Thank you. Good job on the buses. Now we'll get into committee reports. Excuse me. Under the February annual agenda, we'll have a more definitive update on the budget review. We'll be closer to our goals for the review. And as required by the state, we're going to have a vote on the 2018 standard mileage rate that people that use their own vehicle for, for school business, they get reimbursed per mile. So we have to vote on that to establish a rate. And the rate we usually use, or always use, is that's given out by the IRS. And this year, the rate is, do we know?
54 and a half.
54.5 cents per mile, so, yeah, so,
Make a motion to accept.
so,
54.5.
second?
Second.
Any other questions on that? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, thank you. Okay, on the subcommittee reports, we did meet tonight, the executive board. We went over the first proposals that was given to us on the budget. It was at 6.6%. We felt that was, can be trimmed down to a lower rate, below 5%. So she's going to work with her staff and administration to lower that down. I just, a couple of things that are in there that we might want to start thinking about as under the capital projects. We have some items we have to work on, and one of the major ones is the condition of the football field. It's getting to the point now where we're going to have to do something about that field, and to keep more in line with state laws and regulations regarding usage. Was it Title IX?
Title IX.
Title IX. Right now, it's exclusively used by the men's varsity football league, school league, and it should be used by, women and men, but to do that, the field is not substantially in the condition to maintain it, so it would then render itself unusable. So we're gonna have to take a hard look at the cost of trying to replace it within the next year or two. It could be a 2-year phase, so just so everybody knows that, it's probably gonna be in the vicinity of $1 million to replace the field with turf. So it's something we have to seriously look at, but that's under the capital, but that's also including the total budget. These are a couple of things that we have to be thinking about, and at the next report will have more definite figures and numbers.
So that
Yes,
would be
sir.
an all-purpose field.
Yes, yeah, we could have soccer on it. See, now is with the football team using it, and then right after that, it kind of rests for a week. But if the soccer team, and none of the female sports use it, girls soccer, for practicing or anything,
Hometown buses will be loading and going in 2 minutes. Hometown buses will be loading and going in 2 minutes.
Oh, boy.
and there are,
O'clock at night.
Title IX requires that
Right.
both male and female have the access to the fields. So we felt that we've been not negatively pursuing it, but to save the field, we only use it certain months of the year.
Now, does the lacrosse team use that too in spring?
The boys lacrosse
Boys, but
very
not the girls.
sparingly, because then we have to prepare for graduation.
Yeah.
So we don't use the field during that
Yeah.
time.
So this would entitle a new field, and it might not be in the same location, you might have to, there's plenty of land around the area. So, but, probably will be, but, so this would be a turf type field, and we have to decide, well, do we wanna put lights too?
We just do the stadium seats over?
Huh?
We just did new seats.
Yeah, so it'll probably
So
be in
you're
the.
gonna, you're gonna change the location of the field?
No, I'm saying that's not out of the
That's what you just
question.
said, though.
We want to put in another field for that, It is, so it's something we have to think about. It's serious enough that we're gonna have to put it into capital improvements. Mr. Early,
Quick question, we did the track many years ago, I think it's at least 10 years, so that also has to be looked at, because if we're gonna put it in the same location, you've got a turf field, you still have to do something with the track. I don't know if the elevations are gonna be the same, and the other thing is, there's a lot of maintenance on this turf field, so you're gonna have one person designated full-time just for that field.
right, that's why I'm saying that's why I'm putting it out now.
Yep.
So people can start thinking about, if we want to approach it, how we want to approach it, the time.
I believe now is the time to be talking about it.
So would it not meet Title IX if we had additional fields using land we already have? What if you built another field?
It would be nice to build another field, but even with that, we'd still need to do something with that.
But the
We'd
other-
have to
they would get
clear,
each less usage, right?
right, we'd have to
Spread it
clear
out.
land
Yeah.
at this point. Right now, what we're transporting our students to other fields, so that they can practice and play, and
So
they're
would
not
it be
playing
less than $1
here.
million to have another grass field?
We don't know. Those are things.
Yeah, okay.
We're just getting in the initial stages, but I just wanted everybody to be aware that it's an issue we just can't say, we'll worry about it in 5 years.
When you say turf, you mean artificial turf?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if multiple teams can use it, that means there are other fields you don't have to maintain, so I wonder how the maintenance really nets out there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Maybe, it may reduce maintenance.
Right.
Also,
Yes.
I believe at Triton, they were looking to have the fields leased out or whatever during the summer, you know, there was
Yep,
opportunities for the community to use it, but also for private enterprise, and they
Oh,
charge
definitely,
them
and
for
these are
that.
things we'll,
That, okay.
and all this
Sell
will go
naming
into.
rights.
Right. That'll all go into the equation.
Oh,
Haverhill Bank Field.
I think Maureen's done a brief study, and how many of the surrounding communities have,
There's only two other, of the 11, only two that have turf, do not have artificial turf, and only one other that does not have lights
Right.
than us.
Oh.
in that-
So,
yeah, so. Yes, sir.
Excuse me, that $850,000 or $900,000, that doesn't include the lights.
Right.
Thank you.
Well,
I think we're in the beginning stages. I'm a little hesitant to get too much
Yep.
more involved in the discussion, because
right, that's why, but it's not gonna be a $50,000 project.
Yeah.
So something we have to think about. We'll have some more data at the next meeting, and we'll go on from there, because these are capital expenses that the member committees will have to put into their budgets. All right. Any other questions on? Okay, so secondly, instructional personnel, Dr. Testaverde.
We have not met, and to my knowledge, I don't think we're going to need a meeting until spring. Maureen, do you agree with that? I would think we'll talk about it again in April or May.
All righty. Plant operations, Mr. Tucker.
Has not met.
Mhm.
we may need to have a meeting
Next month,
for
before the
February.
regular?
Yep,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll schedule a meeting for 6:30.
6:30
On the 7th?
on the 7th of
Next
February.
month's regular meeting.
Yeah, which is February
Yeah, yeah.
7th.
We moved it to the 7th,
So
remember?
6:30,
Ah,
February 7th.
yeah, we moved to the 7th.
what day of the week is that?
It's Wednesday.
Hometown buses. Buses are loading,
Salary negotiations, Mr. Early.
Yes, we've had 2 meetings, things are going good. We've got another meeting scheduled when?
24th.
24th, and we'll get back to you with a new update.
Okay. We have the minutes to approve. Number 6 meeting is in your packet. Are there any questions on that? Those meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Murphy, second by Ms. O'Connor. Any questions or comments on the minutes? None? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Irvin.
Mr. Chairman, we have minutes from December 13
Yep.
for approval.
Second.
Move those.
Any comments on the minutes? None? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
And we have the second reading on policy. This is the second, third. So I'll read them out for the minutes. DB,
So you're going to do a second and third?
this is second and final.
Oh, final, okay.
Okay, so this first group I have.
Okay.
A DB, DBC, DBD, DBJ, DGA, DK, DKC, EB, EBB, EC, ECA, EDC, EEAEA, EFC, FF, FFA, FFAA, GBA, GBEB, GBED, GBGB, GBGE, GBGF, GBI, GBK, GCBA, GCBB, GCE, and the residency policy that was before you. So move that for final approval.
Second.
Any questions on these policies? None being heard, all in favor of all these policies, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous. Mr. Irvin.
Mr. Chairman, I would, this next group you were in your packet considered for the first reading. At this point, I'd like to suspend the rules for the possibility of reading them for the first and second reading. They're non-controversial. In most cases, they're just language update or moving MASC policy with our own policy. So none of them are controversial. So I would ask suspension
First,
of
we
the
need
rules.
a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous.
All right, so
Now we need a motion. Want to read the rules? Let's
Yeah,
make the
it-
motion first.
at this point, I move for final reading of this next group. And
Okay.
again, bear with me. GCF, GCJ, GCQF, GDO, GDQD, GCQF, IB, IC, ICA, ID, IE, IGB, IHA, IHAM, IHB, IHBEA, IJ, IJNDD, IJOA, IJOB, IK, IMG, JFBB, JICH, JII, JJE, JLCC, KBBA, KBE, KCD, KDD, KE, KHB, LDA, and the verbal student substance abuse disorder policy. And again, these are all relatively harmless. I know we've got to go through it, but
We have a motion, is there a second?
second.
Second? Second by Mr. Murphy.
I have a
Yes.
question before we vote.
Yes,
On my iPad here, you left out several of them. So is that, did you combine some or something, Dave? I'm
I
just.
read what was given. Hopefully, they were the same from what we had worked on our session last time.
I wasn't there, so that's why I'm asking if,
Some of them we didn't use.
All right. All right,
so
so
we didn't use,
Some of them,
some of them may have been the same or whatever, so rather than waste time, we didn't put them in.
okay, all right.
They were substantially, they were either the same or maybe one word and it was just verbiage.
Okay. So, but all I have is what's on here, and there were others
Right, well,
in
that's all
there,
we can
so-
approve at this point.
yeah,
right?
the other ones are still approved if they weren't changed.
Okay,
These are the ones that have some verbiage change.
Again, I don't know if we subtract stuff. We started with 99, and if we approve this, this is the end of the 99, and hopefully the end of it until springtime. And I do appreciate the hard work of our secretary and also the superintendent in working on this. It was a yeoman effort to do.
Anything else on this? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, unanimous.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you for your diligence. I never would have read all those.
I thought I was having a song here.
Okay. Salary negotiations will be meeting on January the 24th in the conference room at the superintendent's office at 3 p.m. The executive board meeting will meeting right here before the regular school committee at 5 p.m. And the regular school committee meeting will be at 7 p.m. on the same day, February 7th. It's on a Wednesday. As of now, there's no new business. There's no need for executive session. I do have some communications. This comes from the mayor of Amesbury, to know that C. Anthony Lesage, representing Whittier Regional Location from the District of Amesbury, his term expires on March 31st, 2018. This is from the mayor Florentini from Haverhill. Richard Early, representing the Whittier Regional Location from Haverhill, expires on March 31st. This is from Mayor Holliday from our new report. Ben Fitzgerald, representing the Whittier Regional from Newport. His term expires March 31st.
you just got here.
Oh, he pulled in the
I
rest.
know.
This is from the Gary James, representing the the school district, Istwick, expires on March 31st. And this is a reminder from the, this is from us, that's right. No, but the letter, that Lisa O'Connor, representing Whittier, heard for Groveland, expires on March 31st, so.
When does mine expire?
Not this, not
Last
this.
year.
So,
Last year.
We'll let you know.
So please,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
for reappointment,
Last year.
make sure you get a letter into the appropriate,
That was just 1
I
year
would
ago.
send one to the,
I mean, 9 months ago.
either the mayor or city council or the school. Who would usually send it to, is it
Superintendent,
superintendent?
towns.
Yeah, so we had an issue
Yeah.
a while back that's individuals sent it to the wrong person and they weren't reappointed, so make sure you get it in.
So does it make a, just had a question, does it make a difference if you're in
Excuse me?
a town versus, you know, I mean, as a district, I mean, you know, like a regional district versus a town like Newburyport?
Superintendent for the towns.
Excuse me?
So, like, for example, if you're.
If you're from Pentucket, send it to the superintendent of Pentucket.
Okay, because I sent mine to the chairman,
And the chair, I think.
the
And the
chair
chair?
of,
School
of
committee.
the school
But-
committee.
See, see, the
That's where my letter
Oh.
went to.
Because it's the chair, the school
But-
committee that appoints these,
Right.
the people,
Right.
not the superintendent.
Yeah, but I thought the superintendent,
He posts
Goes to their
the
office
position.
anyway,
Does
it ends up going to their office.
yeah, I think it's the responsibility of the superintendent to post a position.
In the city, we gotta go to the mayor and the superintendent.
Oh, your city.
Right,
No,
Yeah.
us, specifically, not her.
right, but, okay,
We have to go to the mayor and the superintendent.
to the mayor, he
takes care of it. Mayor and the city's usually.
It probably wouldn't be bad to send it to the superintendent and carbon copy the chair of the school committee.
Yeah.
And you have both things covered.
Just to be sure, yeah.
but for him, it would be the mayor.
The mayor.
The mayor,
Oh, yeah, because.
Well,
and
the
the
su-
Report, right?
The superintendent reached out to me to say, what do you want to do? So in our
good.
case, in
Oh,
the case
that
of the
right?
report, it was the superintendent.
and for those that do that, I would just follow up, say, in a week, just to make sure they get it.
In the report, the
This is
appointment
already
comes from
Chair.
the mayor, who
Excuse
is
me?
also the chairman of the
Yeah.
school committee.
The cities,
That's why.
the mayor is also the chair.
chairman of the school committee.
Right.
That's why.
I forgot about that.
All right, just so everybody knows.
Mr. Chairman,
Also, Joanne made a point, maybe two meetings ago, that
About what?
people need to be sworn in.
Oh, yeah,
Like, they have to go down to their city hall and be sworn in.
yeah.
Even though you have the letter, you have to still do that. So,
You can take a course.
Yes.
Only if it's your first,
if it's your first.
but we'll do the swearing in here.
Oh, really? Just general?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Took 2 minutes. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, just a second.
Second.
Still say, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.